There are more than 10,000 cities in the world, yet tens of millions of people come to the same few dozen ones. See, cities are living organisms. They change over time. Some are more alive than others. Some are more beautiful than others. And the only way to feel a city's energy is by taking long, aimless, and slow walks. You need to feel this sense of mystery, a thrilling sensation of getting kind of lost. But cities are more than that. They determine your life trajectory, your odds of success in your field, and even your chances of meeting your significant other. But why is there a lack of attractive cities that's making cities like Paris, Venice, or Barcelona overcrowded? What did the urban planners and modern architects get wrong? Nassim Taleb is the first author I've read who referred to cities as living organisms. At first, I didn't really get what he meant by that, but then I got it in 2020 when most cities were dead during the pandemic. I never thought you could strip the life of cities like Paris or New York. I remember walking in Paris during lockdown, and it was a completely different experience. That's when I realized that what makes a city alive is this symbiotic relationship between its people, the local businesses, the parks, the street, the architecture, and the lights. I've lived in different cities and different countries and even continents throughout my life. From Agadir in the south of Morocco to Marrakesh and Casablanca, to Paris currently. I've also been traveling extensively throughout my 20s. I've been to great cities like Oslo, Lisbon, Barcelona, Madrid, Florence. I've also visited less great cities like Las Vegas, Cincinnati, Frankfurt, and Miami. But most of my time is spent between Paris, New York City, Geneva, and Casablanca. And I've learned that to really feel a city, you need to take very slow, long, and aimless walks all around the different neighborhoods. The French have a word for it, flâner. And after flaneuring for literally thousands of kilometers across these cities, I have kind of an idea of what makes a city alive and attractive. And this is the point where I'm gonna lose my American viewers. Great cities are built for pedestrians, not cars. There is a reason why Paris keeps attracting millions or tens of millions of people every year. It's mainly built for humans, not cars. You can literally walk all around the city, and it just makes every arrondissement unique with its own life. Instead, most modern urban planners are getting it backwards. More neighborhoods and cities are built for cars, especially outside of Europe. You end up with hideous highways, tons of parking lots, and large avenues. Everything that kills a city's soul. I've posted a tweet recently about my experience walking in Cincinnati, Ohio versus Tangier, Morocco. My walks in Cincinnati were dull, very short but exhausting, and mainly on empty sidewalks. My walk in the old town of Tangier lasted for over 2 hours, but I felt more energized afterwards. The old town of Tangier was full of narrow and mysterious streets, a lot of small businesses, and you can literally watch artisans practicing their craft, or just a bunch of retirees killing time. It was full of energy that literally rubbed off on me. That's what I'm used to. I remember I was in Las Vegas for a business trip and I had this important meeting 30 minutes from my hotel. As a Parisian, I just left my hotel, started walking towards the strip, and literally 5 minutes into my walk, I realized that every person walking with me on the same sidewalk was either screaming, talking to themselves, or twitching. People in cars were looking at me funny, and that's when I realized that normal people just don't walk around here. A city where you absolutely need a car to function is not a great city. On the other hand, attractive cities should be big enough to get kind of lost and feel this sense of mystery when walking around. There should be some chaos, but not too much. And I like to contrast Casablanca, Morocco with Geneva, Switzerland. Casablanca can be too chaotic. A lot of people get overwhelmed. Geneva, on the other hand, can be too orderly that it becomes boring. Personally, I find that New York City is the perfect balance between chaos and order. Some people might disagree. We're talking about lifestyle and how you feel in cities. But picking which city to live in might be one of the most important decisions you make. Naval Ravikant emphasizes that it's a decision you need to spend months or even years thinking about. Your decision should take into account your field and What do you want to accomplish? And the goal should be to maximize serendipitous encounters, meeting people who can present you with opportunities. Tech people gather in California, finance people in New York City, fashion people in Paris or Milan, and digital nomads with no taste in Dubai. But why is there a shortage of great cities in the world? How, among 10,000 cities, did we end up with a few dozens that combine all the ingredients that make a great city? I think a subtle cultural change that had a deep impact not only on urban planning, architecture, but also art, is the idea of postmodernism, that beauty is subjective. If you take New York City, Art Deco buildings like the Chrysler Building or the Empire State Building are objectively attractive. I think most people can agree that they added to the overall attractiveness of the city. When beauty becomes subjective and in the eye of the beholder, you end up with buildings like this. There is a reason why millions of people go visit the Cathedral of Santa Maria del Fiore in Florence, the Eiffel Tower, the Sagrada Familia, or even the Empire State Building. There is an objective standard of beauty that people can agree on. When postmodern thinkers decided that beauty is subjective, that's when the brutalist, dull, and sometimes hideous buildings started rising. And the impact isn't just aesthetic. In France, we have the HLM, the housing projects that were built to absorb hundreds of thousands of migrant workers in the past century. Today, they turned into inner cities where episodic riots erupt because people who live there feel completely ostracized from society. And one of the most revered modern architects, Le Corbusier, had a plan to turn Paris into a copy of Brasilia. His Plan Voisin aimed to destroy all the most cherished neighborhoods of Paris and have more high-rise towers instead. As Nassim Taleb said, architects with no skin in the game build structures to impress other architects. Now, even though I appreciate European cities and their beauty, there's something big that they lack: energy. That energy comes from seeing people doing commerce, making money, starting companies, and just being driven. And that's one thing I love about my home country, Morocco. Even though Morocco became a modern country today, it kept this ancient form of marketplaces, the souk. And in every major city, from Tangier to Fez to Marrakesh, the souk is still functional. You walk around these souks and you can find barbers, artisans, street food, merchants selling everything from spices to olives to lingerie. And you can literally feel this energy of commerce when walking around. And I find the modern version of this in cities like New York. That energy and drive rubs off on you. And I feel like most European cities lack that energy. Now, one last note about cities. Like any living organism, they weaken and even perish. Throughout history, we've seen city-states come and go. Damascus, Aleppo, Athens, Cordoba were once the most prosperous cities in the world, attracting hundreds of thousands and even millions of people. Today, we might have Paris, New York, London, Hong Kong, Dubai. These quasi-city-states might dominate today and attract millions of people, but might collapse in the future and give space to other cities to prosper. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next video.